You know, it's like they say, the years keep coming and they don't stop coming, and here's come and gone yet another year, this one the 2018th, for any of y'all keeping count. And, I don't know, I guess a few good games came out? Let's take a look at the best ones.
These are the top 8 games of 2018. Number 8. Hollow Knight.
Hollow Knight didn't technically come out this year, but this is the year I played it, so shut up. It's pretty good if you can get past all the bugs. I don't actually really like or dislike Metroidvanias. Like, none has ever really left a major impression on me. I don't know, but this one is cool because, check this, you can let yourself die, then come back to where you died, and then you can use your ghost as a platform to go somewhere higher. That's pretty cool. Not that, like, I ever did this at all, but it was nice to know you could. Otherwise, yeah, it's just pretty good, I guess.
Number 7. Spider-Man.
Spider-Man does whatever a Spider-Man can. This isn't by far the only game that's come out this year with a photo mode. It's been a really weird trend recently that I haven't understood. That is, until now, because this is the first game that made me care about it. Like, I guess there's something to be said about the quantity and quality of a game's content when it drives players to want to take pictures of it. The game is really good, and it'd definitely make it way up higher on the list if it weren't for one major game-breaking issue. So in the game, sometimes there are points of interest that you need to activate with the press of a button, and as you approach them, a little icon appears hovering over them. But right as you get close enough to interact, the indicator, what looks like a circle, suddenly transforms into a triangle, leading you to press the wrong button every single time. Now yes, I'm playing this off for comedic effect, but what isn't funny is when you sit down and realize this is a AAA game, how the fuck did this make it out? Fuck right out of here with this weak shit. Spider-Man would have been higher, but whoops, pressed the wrong button, number 7 only, loser.
Number 6. Splatoon 2's Octo expansion except for the grinding levels.
Except for the grinding levels, Splatoon 2's Octo expansion is the gnarliest of all gnarls. It's got that fire hip-hop aesthetic, these poppin' and bumpin' tunes, this minimal story that still manages to pull it all together and end with an impact, but most important, holy hell, do these levels rock. Each level starts before it even starts, so you gotta pick a loadout for it, some giving you more points at the end, aka their difficulty levels. And then when you go in, you have to pay with an in-game currency to play the level, and you don't start with very much, and you don't get very much for clearing, so it's like, you've always got doom looming over you. It motivates you to clutch your absolute hardest to every stage. All the twists, all the turns, all the combat, all the puzzles, hell man, there's just so much in these stages, I can't even describe it all. It's funny, I was playing this game around the same time I was working on that video about Metal Gear Solid's VR missions, and I was really thinking of trying to work in there a bit about how Octo Expansion honestly feels like more of a sequel to MGS's VR stages than any other game in its own series, but hey, I guess it was worth saving for now instead. You have Splatoon 2 and you like yourself some good fucking level design, you owe it to yourself to check this out. Except for the grinding levels. Jesus Christ, how come sometimes you jump, you got no freaking forward momentum? What's going on here?
Number 5. Hamish Black.
Hey, coming in at number 5, it's ya man, Hamish Black. Full disclosure, if you consider the combined package of Hambob and Nico a single title, definitely would be Game of the Year.
This is a dumb thing.
God damn it. Sadly, they're sold separately, but hey, don't hate the player, hate the writing on game. So I don't know into how much detail I want to go here. I mean, after all, my final Patreon goal is to write a socio-technical analysis of the man, but look, Hamish is one of the purest-hearted game video boys you can meet, and he'll be your dad if you let him. What do I mean by that? Look, man's got style, man's got grace, man's even got a really funny podcast he runs with the aforementioned Nico Blakely.
I've been called a hipster in the past, accused.
And the deal is, look, if you subscribe to Hambob's channel, Writing on Games, you'll be satisfied enough. You'll regularly be fed the delicious pieces, sometimes on actively relevant games Hambob's busting his ass on, trying to get a word out to read you in on, a word that ain't nobody else in time for embargo lifts gonna have prepped in time. Sometimes they're on the Goldie Oldies, hearing Hambob take a retrospective look back at something that happened some time ago that, hey, maybe you never thought about. And sometimes it'll be Hamish fucking Black just reflecting on certain components of the industry he writes about from his point of view, standing in the middle of sweaty crowds of gamers at events, brain on. And for most viewers, for me even for a while, that's more than enough. He's real. He constantly makes clear that a lot of his takes come from his personal experiences. He's personable and relatable and transparent as all hell. And that's exactly what you want out of a games writer. I mean, even though, let's be real, he'd have every right to be at this point, Hambob doesn't come out slinging slash from atop some high horse. He justifies everything he says. Every conclusion he makes is the product of 1,000 thoughts juggled and juggled and juggled, and that his videos serve the purpose of showing us the filtered view, the presentable version, the tip of the iceberg of. But the thing is, if you give yourself to him, he'll dish you out more. Listening to him and Nico's podcast, the Writing on GamesCast, gives you excellent context weeks in advance to the final video projects he drops. I don't know if he realizes it or not, but listening to the podcast, you'll hear him express feelings about games or events that are still partly recognizable post-process of making them points in a video. It's like sitting on a couch with a dude who's just shooting the shit with you about a game, and then next week he comes back all suited up with a full-on PowerPoint deck of focus slides and a conclusion, or a really personal expression. It's so dope. There's also the fact that you've got this whole... I don't know, I'm gonna call it a narrative, but you've got this narrative where this dude who never really asked for much is now suddenly finding himself in the big leagues. He's getting invited to press events as a personality, he's on buses chatting up with voice actors from games he's criticized, but he hasn't lost anything, he hasn't changed, he's super humble, but he's committing to that bit out of what seems like genuine and honest curiosity. It's like we all get to experience this wild ride he's on through him because he's not taking advantage of it or anything. He's just letting it happen because he wants to know what comes next. And it's like, I don't know, man. It digs, dude. And on a personal note, as far as my experiences have gone with the video game Hamish Black this year, okay, I won't bore y'all with the details because every time I stream these days it always devolves into me just sitting down and singing this tune with y'all over chat. But I have what we'll call audience issues, and by that what I mean is my channel's only growth comes from videos that attract the sorts of people who are the same sorts of people who unsubscribe in mass every time I upload something new I've worked really hard on that's not like the sort of video that attracted them in the first place. I know I've said before that I'm in this to have fun and that I'm basically completely self-motivated, but I kind of had to come to terms recently after being unable to put my hands to writing for over a month straight that I was lying to myself. At least during that time recently, it really felt like it was demotivating me. And it's not that I'm bothered by the fact that I'm not growing, because technically I am, but it's more that I'm bothered that I could be, and instead I keep having SpongeBob fans sent to my doorstep who don't want to hear any of what I'm preaching these days. I feel like I'm being bullied by a video suggestion system beyond the scope of my effect, and that recently made it really hard to get any work done. But hey, if YouTube's suggestion system is my bully, then Hamish is the bigger kid on the playground what fucks boys up. You won't believe what's interrupting my VO right now. It's literally, I'm gonna try to film it. There's a tractor piling leaves up, literally right outside the window. Look at it. Oh my fucking god, they're still fucking with these leaves! Hamish is immensely generous, and basically most of my positive growth this year has come from a couple of shoutouts he made that he really didn't have to. It really makes a difference, because here he is, this dude who's assembling a crowd of people who want to listen to him, and here's a couple of us trying to rally up our own around our messages, and Hamish is just like, yo, I got you guys, and he just directs people to us, to people like me and my friends, and it makes a big difference. It makes as much, you know what? It's very much like this fucking tractor right now. Like, yo, what the fuck? That's what this is all about. Hold on, I gotta film it. See this truck right here? This tractor? See how it's carrying all the leaves? That's Hamish. And see that truck? That I can't focus on it. But see that truck? Yeah, there's a truck. So Hamish is this tractor holding on the leaves, and that truck that currently only has a few little leaves in it. That's me. That's me and all my friends. That's me and all my friends. Okay? See, what Hamish is doing is he takes all, he's like, you want these leaves? And we're like, well, I mean, okay. And he's like, please, take them all, take them, please, you're my friends and I like you very much. And he dumps them all over there. Right there, like that. That's exactly what he does. It's really, it's incredible symbolism. You see this little loser tractor over here, this little tractor over there, this Hamish. This little tractor all alone. It's just a total lonely little tractor. It's got no real friends. So that's the turbo button right there. This year in particular was pretty bad for me. A couple of big name YouTubers who'd never made SpongeBob videos before decided to, which meant, hey, I got a ton of traffic in from those guys making SpongeBob relevant again. So Hamish was like the counterbalance that kept things from tipping over. And I only bring this up because I know he's going to watch this, and I know that to him it's selfless, it's thoughtless. He just does things because he wants to do them, and he doesn't really get to see the impact of it. And I kind of want to share that with him. It's hard to do without basically explaining it. So, Hamish, thanks for fighting off these bullies, dude. It really means a lot. And, fuck it, I'm gonna spoil the rest of the Game of the Year list here, but there ain't a human on this list past this point. So, as far as people go, Hamish is Game of the Year. So, give it to him, ladies and gentlemen. But not actual Game of the Year, sadly. He easily gets trumped and bumped by our next entry. Check it, guys.
Number 4. The Instant Pot.
The Instant Pot is a pressure cooker my dad got me for Christmas last year. It was at the center of at least one stream that ended in the BK Joe disaster of freaking... whatever, guys, listen. You can make fresh, piping hot applesauce in 5 minutes with this thing. Watch, I'm even gonna play this whole thing out, look. Can Hamish do that? No. Can anyone in Scotland do that? Nah, not a chance. This machine is better than everyone in an entire country. Sorry, Hambob, but you didn't stand an apple of a chance. Now, on the topic of doing really important things really quickly, let's check out our next entry on our Games of the Year list. Okay, full disclosure. I know I said it's like 2 minutes. Technically it is. I left out some things, obviously. There was some setup time, cutting the apples, notably, putting them in, filling it with a little bit of sugar and cinnamon. And also, so the pressure cooker doesn't start right away. Some people don't understand that it has to build pressure, and then once it's done building pressure, then it cooks for 2 minutes, and then you leave it some time to let the pressure release. You may have seen some steam. The camera doesn't really pick it up very well. And then after that, you kind of gotta wait for it to cool down. But my camera right now says 35 minutes. A lot of that time was wasted. It takes about, I want to say, 7 to 10 minutes to build up the pressure, plus the 2 minutes to cook. You know what? Very high-balling estimate, let's say it's 15 minutes, and you've got steaming hot, like so hot you can't even eat it right now. I've brought it to a couple of parties. Nothing slays people better than when you have some ice cream put on top, because then you can eat it, because then the temperature is fine. You can put it in even a paper bowl. Oh, it's unbelievable. You could just do this in the morning, man. Oh, it's way too hot. Sometimes in the morning you have leftover fruit from the week you want to get rid of. You just chuck them in the thing and you just make like a fruit stew. Done. Done. Maybe you make some oatmeal on the side, but you don't even have to, man. You just have like pulverized, pressurized freaking fruit flesh. I'm gonna go actually edit this part of the video while I eat the rest of this.
Number 3. Quitting a job.
Last year, you may remember that number 3 on this list was getting a job. I mean, it was the best collectathon in the year of the revival of collectathon platformers. Well, it turns out its success was short-lived because its sequel, number 3 this year, Quitting a Job, totally diverges along every vector. Genre, gameplay, story, everything is different, and as it turns out, it's objectively better than what came before it. Listen, here's something I've learned. Just because you're having fun, just because you like the people you work with, you feel mostly respected and you mostly respect everyone else, it doesn't mean you owe anyone anything. You should be able and allowed to recognize when you're getting the raw deal. And you shouldn't have to wait over a year for the right deal to come following a promise. I know a few people here are aspiring programmers, folks studying computer science and software engineering. I've talked to quite a few of you guys, trying to help with advice and whatever. Well, now that I've been on the market out of school, here's my advice for when you get here. Someone offers you a contingent contract position with a promise to make you permanent after a few months. I don't care if you're just starting your career and you don't feel confident in yourself, but turn it down. If someone's not committed enough to fully hire you right off the bat, you shouldn't be committed enough to accept their offer. Move on, keep applying, you'll find something better. Otherwise, you risk working and getting very comfortable and happy somewhere where nobody is prioritizing your employment, but is expecting you to be a little bellhop, and you have to end up taking your job security into your own hands, and hey, yeah, eventually you'll have to quit. I mean, it's not like it's all that bad. You'll gain some great experience, you'll have some fun, but ultimately, it'll only be to help you fluff up your resume and make you look better to the next guys. Which, hey, maybe you could have tried starting at in the first place. Look, make sure you're taken care of. Don't let yourself get hassled too hard. Not that it exactly happened to me, but don't let anyone take advantage of you because you don't know yet how valuable you are. And if nobody's looking after you and it's time to quit, it's time to quit. Hold yourself up, you'll be alright. It's just, if you grow to love the people you work with, damn, it can be tough to have to leave. Anyways, the sequel owns the prequel, enough said. We're down to the line now, top 2, baby.
Number 2. Having friends.
Last year, number 2 was Making Friends, a game with a few easily exploitable strategies that could be used to progress through it pretty easily once you got past its rather excessive opening segment. But that's what's great, the intro being so long is like a barrier to entry that keeps in only the most dedicated players, and seeing as how some of its chapters are co-op, it guarantees that you'll always be matched with other interested players. And this year, that's where we're at. The second place Game of the Year 2018 goes to Having Friends. Kevin, last year's Game of the Year, passed me forward this saying, commit to the bit, which living by for the past year has not only helped in making friends, but also in keeping them and enriching my relationships with them. In school years, I kind of dropped a lot of no's. People invited me somewhere to something, default response, I'd just kick it in, no. And so what happened was people stopped inviting me to crap. In my defense, for a while I lived in a sort of place that without a car wasn't really the easiest to get around, and you needed like a full week's notice just to plan how to get to a friend's house. And getting downtown, yeah, it was mostly easy, but buses in my town ended earlier in the night than the city, so I always had this curfew spotting me that caused me to bail on a lot of invites. So I'd kinda just end these early nights and study from home a lot. Basically, my living situation and school workload didn't really accommodate the sort of lifestyle I have now. These days I've just been popping it, making friends, saying yes, ending up weird places at weird times, talking to people for hours over a few drinks, changing plans last minute, setting up plans last minute. I'm living much more ad hoc than I ever have. Living on island definitely helps, but not being in school has had just as big of an impact, not only in terms of the workload from actual professional job being less than school projects, but in terms of the sorts of friends I've been having and making. So there's this observation from network studies that individuals in any sort of dynamic graph will tend to be more closely connected to nodes that are more similar to them than nodes that aren't. This is called homophily, and one of its impacts is that where you'll find one entity of one type, you'll likely find many more close by. Now, there are a whole slew of reasons this happens, which I won't go into, but this is why, for instance, many large cities have class and cultural divisions. You have your rich Westmounts, your unincorporated communities like Chinatowns and Little Italies, and why a lot of people in specific, highly focused university programs happen to have a lot in common. Now, not to trash my friends, they're all great, but finishing school, getting really close to the same few folks for so many years, I was worried that down the line my friendscape would remain a social enclave, that I'd be a software guy whose only friends were other software guys. Getting a job last year helped, because I went from sitting in auditoriums full of hundreds of software engineering students to being one of two programmers in a marketing team. So when I played last year's Making Friends, I focused a lot on building friendships with people from circles that I didn't have any experience with prior, and not in a malicious or cold or bad-natured sort of way, but more in a sort of way that aligned more with wanting as many different kinds of people to have an impact on my life and help me shape it just as much as I'd like to help them and be a small part of their lives and maturity. Doing this and allowing this to happen naturally for a while, this leveled up my character, so to speak. I mean, this is a video game after all. See, a big part of having friends, as I've hinted, is learning from them and their experiences and sharing your own with them. Your save file from the previous game gets carried over though, so the quality of that learning turns out is actually dependent on your progress in the previous game. And so while it might seem unfair to give the number 2 Game of the Year spot to Having Friends, mostly for reasons having to do with my progress in the previous game, to consider Having Friends the second best part of my life this year only because the friends I made last year were so good, well, frankly I don't care, it's my list, I can do what I want. Like any good game from a long-standing series, the best way to take it forward is to rely on the best parts of its prequels and expand upon them, and clearly, Having Friends does. Well deserved. The developers and everyone involved in its creation should be very proud of themselves, and I can't thank them enough. They've allowed me to finally experience a lifestyle I've been missing out on for way too long. They've helped me grow and mature in a direction I'm proud of and wouldn't have without them. And they've allowed me the opportunity to, in turn, be trusted by them and help just as they have me. I've made some pretty good friends. I've had some pretty good friends. Godspeed, y'all. Come back and visit sometime. But now, and on the subject of visiting, the moment you guys have most certainly been waiting for, in a year of, I don't know, some pretty okay games, one stood out. One video gaming experience I had this year went above all the rest. Went so far above that there's nothing really to compare it against. Almost unfairly, I'd say, there's no way to properly measure this game. And that's why it's gotta be the winner. Without further ado, the Game of the Year 2018 is...
Number 1, Shrekfest.
Shrekfest is a festival held every Labor Day weekend in Madison, Wisconsin now for the last 5 years. And happily, I attended its 5th installment this year. Now first, some mentions are in order. Shout out to your boys Matt aka MML's Commentaries and Zac Frazier aka... Zac Frazier. Also Zach's friend John, he doesn't have a YouTube channel, so he's definitely the most well-adjusted of the crew. So yeah, check him. Definitely gonna be stealing some footage from him since this game was so huge I could only capture a bit of the gameplay myself. We'll see what's happening. Now here's the fucking thing about Shrekfest 2018, and in particular my experience there. See, the whole way back home, back to Montreal from freaking Madison, Wisconsin, I knew I had just participated in a moment of personal history, one of my own and no doubt for many other attendees. So the first thing I did when I got home was start writing about it while it was still fresh in my mind. I decided that night in the Uber home that Shrekfest would be topping my Game of the Year list, so I wanted to give as good a retelling of it as possible and my best recommendation to you all. I wrote an 11-page piece on my experience at Shrekfest 2018, but over those 6,500 words, something happened. I began to overanalyze things, spend more time on the downs than the ups. I mean, it's no secret, but it's much easier to talk at length about flaws than it is a working system, but in my writing, I let it get to me. I came out of writing about Shrekfest less satisfied with my spent time there than I was on the plane rides home. That was fucked. So fuck that script. I'm not going to give you the history or the context of this game. I'm not going to tell you how the fest originally came to be or how we came to be there 5 years later. I'm just going to give you the facts. That there is indeed a Shrek-themed festival every Labor Day weekend in Madison, Wisconsin. I know some people still don't believe it, but it's true. And that 3 of us, YouTube video essay boys plus 1, managed to get there. And that while nothing may have really gone according to plan, the 3 of us managed to make it one of the best times ever, certainly worthy the title of Game of the Year. Based on previous years and marketing for the event, we had only a few expectations. The public and free event would have contests of the roaring, costume, and onion-eating variety, and there'd be live music covering most of the Shrek soundtrack, lots of sick merch, lots of goofs, lots of gaffes, and of course, the night would be topped off with a screening in the park of the film Shrek itself, not to be confused with the monster. There was also a rumor on the Facebook page for the event that there'd be a pub crawl preceding all of this, and we were definitely looking to get Shrek'd that night, so hey. I was also stoked at the chance to meet the 3GI, a comedy troupe from Milwaukee who you should remember from last year's Game of the Year list, and some dudes I've been a fan of for ages now. I mentioned last year how when you order shirts from their website they always include a random piece of trash or prop from one of their videos, and I've had in my possession for a few years now this cutout paper that they used for a practical transition effect one time, so coming to Shrekfest I actually brought it with me hoping they'd find it cool that it made it all the way to Canada and back, and I was gonna ask Grant to sign it, but oof, here we go. Now, when it came down to it, Shrekfest failed to deliver on most of those back-of-the-box promises. As far as expectations go, all us gang missed out on all but 2 of the contests and kinda the pub crawl. See, shortly after being interviewed by YouTube channel the DeShrektives on some live stream, and then entering a dance pit for about 2 songs, the sky just opened up and let it pour on us. Recent floods in the area left the venue ill-prepared to handle this many people inside its little shelter, so this ass, who coincidentally was also an ass, got up and told us all that we were officially rained out and that the fest would continue at a bar in town called Hopcat, going as far as to start a chant to make sure we all knew what was up. So the 3 of us figured, hey, let's head there early and beat the crowd. We ended up hitching a ride with a man who we're convinced is actually Shrek. He and his wife offered us a ride in their van and we immediately accepted. These guys were absolutely dedicated. This, by the way, is the same dude you've probably seen from this viral image going around of a Shrek being stopped by cops. Got to talk to him quite a bit over the ride to the bar. It turns out that they were here on a late honeymoon they never took following their marriage, which was actually conducted in a real swamp. I'm not going to drop pictures of this dude's personal Facebook pictures and stuff in here, but trust me, I've seen the evidence. These dudes were the ultimate Shrek heads. So anyways, to make a long story much shorter than what it actually was and to cut out a lot of legitimate frustration, what ends up happening is we show up to this bar and they tell us to leave because, whoops, turns out there was no official deal between them and Shrekfest to host us, and even if there had been, there sure as hell wasn't any place left, seeing as how not only was this weekend host to Shrekfest, but it was moving weekend for all the college kids coming back, and Metallica was in town kicking off a tour. So the whole town was littered with like young students and old white-haired dudes. Onions chance in a swamp we'd be making it into any bar as a group of a few hundred. Not only that, but the organizers of Shrekfest start streaming the onion eating contest live to Facebook now, still happening back at the same park under the tiny shelter that we were told to leave, and we're missing it. Basically what it felt like was they directed a bunch of people away to thin out the crowd enough so that they could all fit under the little roof they had, and hey, I guess it worked. They never told us to come back, they never told us where to finally go. The Facebook event was flooded with messages from people looking for direction from the organizers who just weren't helping. So after a good long while of bumming around downtown Madison and reading posts from other stragglers who left the park when they were told and left the bar when they couldn't get in, we had an idea. We were feeling down because we were missing out on something. We had all come a really long way to be here, and now it was just kind of ogre. But that's exactly how everyone else was feeling. If only, say, there was something else to do. Maybe all us stragglers could band together and still make a night out of this. So that's exactly what we did. The four of us started responding to people on Facebook with unanswered requests to the organizers for instructions on where to go next, and we started just telling them to meet us at the bar. Once we'd assembled a pretty decent crowd, we took a picture, which sadly doesn't do it justice as most of the folks were standing on a sidewalk out of frame, but whatever. So we posted this to the page telling people what was up, and that hey, maybe the official event was a bust, but there was a sizable amount of people down to hang out anyways at this bar. So we all went back to the bar, one by one, and made our own reservations, and we slowly but surely filled the place up. And the more of us there were, the more confidence other lost Shrek folk had to trek out and join us.
Matt, explain exactly what's happening.
Okay, Dennis is taking charge of Shrekfest right now. So it got rained out, and then they were saying go to Hopcat, but Hopcat doesn't know anything about Shrekfest. So now we waited outside, and now we're just getting everyone to make table reservations and just come on. And now he's trying to get them to seat everyone in the same spot. You gotta get it.
You're the savior. Thank you.
Yeah, we're gonna try our fucking best.
We got to just hang out for a good few hours with a ton of folks, talk about who we were, how far we'd traveled, why we were there. This is where we met these dudes, and this dude who won the onion eating contest, by the way, after finishing 3 fucking onions because he tied twice. Dude looked like he just wanted to die right there. And of course, these dudes, we actually hung out with them for most of the rest of the night, even chilled in Matt and Zach's hotel room for a bit, since it turned out that we were all bunking under the same roof. But that's one of the reasons Shrekfest had to be Game of the Year this year. There's definitely something to be said about the quality of a game that fails so hard to meet the expectations it's set for itself, but still has strong enough interconnected systems to allow for player-driven emergent gameplay scenarios so open-ended that players can actually design their own games within it. Shrekfest is a game where the right players with the right motivation can fuck off with the broken main quest and fumble together their own levels for themselves and other players to play, all to everyone's benefit. You thought Breath of the Wild was where things were at? Oof, get out of my swamp. Over breakfast the next day, the four of us kind of brought up how wild it was that, like, if it weren't for us being there, that wouldn't have happened. We were the right people, and we were enough people on our own to convince people it was worth hanging out with us. We were a gang of 4, already a party. We had a neat story about how we all met online that people dug. And of course, I was fully decked out and repping my home and native land of Canada, so it was a consistently effective icebreaker. There were definitely a lot of people whose nights would have ended short if it weren't for us, and that made us really happy. It was dope. We got a real big crew. We chanted Shrek. We made some noise. Shrek! 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 It was hours until the actual organizers made it back to their own party, but at this point, it wasn't really their party. It was kind of ours. Our collective desire to crawl pubs outmatched any loyalty we felt for the hour or two we got to spend at the actual fest before we were told to leave. But Anyways, we met a lot of really cool people.
You never know if you don't go. Go! You never shine if you don't blow. Hey now, you're an all-star. Get your game on. Go play. Hey now, you're a rock star. Get the show on. Get paid. All that glitters is gold. Only shooting stars break the mold.
Surprisingly, to me at least, it turned out most folks really weren't there for the Shrek crap at all. If fans of anything, most were actually just fans of 3GI. Nobody else there could really pinpoint an exact reason as to why they were there. I mean, neither could I, really. After totally commandeering the party, hitting up a few bars, and getting to know some people better though, I kind of realized what it was for most people. Nobody was there because they actually cared that much about Shrek. I'm almost convinced nobody on Earth is truly a fan of Shrek. That's why when asked at the fest about it, people overreact, clearly exaggerate their appreciation for it. So here's the thing, Shrekfest isn't actually about being a fan of Shrek, and even though it looks like I'm headed that way, it's not even about being a fan of pretending to be a fan of Shrek. No, Shrekfest is a festival for goofy-ass people to hang out with other goofy-ass people, and the barrier to entry being pretending to be a super fan of anything is just like a giant filter to keep in only the dopest folks. Shrekfest has nothing to do with Shrek and everything to do with the sorts of people who would go to something called Shrekfest, if that makes any sense. It's about knowing the sort of person you are and knowing you'll find others like you there. Here's one of my craziest stories from the fest. So last year, BobbyBroccoli won Game of the Year, and his life motto he left me with was commit to the bit. Yada yada, I've been living by it for quite a while now, and reciting it to anyone who asks why I do certain things I do. You can imagine I gave it as a reason to quite a few people at the fest.
What's your real stated reason for being out here today? Do you worship at the altar of Shrek, or is it a more casual? Commit to the bit.
So we're at our second bar, and I'm talking to this girl who turned out was in this inflatable Shrek outfit. She kind of became our mascot for the pub crawl. Definitely left an impression on us all. So she's telling me about how her and her girlfriend are LARPers, and they made fun of some dude's ogre costume at a convention one time, and then he told them about Shrekfest and whatever. So I asked her, like, why she took it so far. Like, most people there were goofing, but fully embodying the life of the party. She was taking it to the next level. So I asked her why. And then she just goes to me, you know, man, just commit to the bit. And that kind of stopped me dead in my tracks. I mean, I had a few drinks in me this point, so I kind of asked her, wait, have we been speaking before this? And she's like, no, why? And I'm like, are you sure I didn't tell you about commit to the bit? And she's like, nah, I've been saying that for years. I live by it. And I was just like, whoa! And I told her the whole story about commit to the bit and everything, but what I think the Bud Lights I had in me were preventing me from realizing at that exact moment was that this is what Shrekfest is about. Shrekfest is the sort of party that's able to bring people who live by the same motto together. That's fucking unbelievably dope, dude. So, that's really that. That was Shrekfest 2018, the most memorable time I've had this year. A pure time with cool friends, an awesome game that allowed us to immerse ourselves in it so completely as to become it, and transform ourselves and it into our own image. An image of a party with a lot of fun. Also, the looks on all those old white-haired white dudes' faces when they came back after the Metallica concert and we'd already loaded Smash Mouth and Hallelujah into all the fucking jukeboxes as many times as we could. Holy fucking shit. So, Shrekfest 2019, you gonna be there? Cause I'll be there. Matt's gonna be there. Zach's gonna be there. I hope John's there. Hamish, Nico, you guys gonna be there? You better be there. Shrekfest, here's the deal. So this is what we're doing. We are turning Shrekfest into the annual video essay community meetup. If you are a video essay family member, come to Shrekfest. Listen, every Labor Day weekend, you know you have it off. You come to Shrekfest. We're gonna do it. We're just, that's what it is. We're looking for an excuse to meet each other. It's fucking Madison, freaking Wisconsin. Labor Day weekend every year. It's guaranteed. Yeah, so Let's do it. Maybe we'll be Game of the Year next year. Who freaking knows?
Is that Matt?
It is.
Oh my god.
Oh my god, what I'm meeting you for the first time and have never met you before and definitely did not get a car ride from you at all.
No. Wait.
Oh, who's that? I thought he was on your shirt.
Oh. No, it was no one. Oh wait. Is that Mario?
It's me, the hat-wearing gamer.
Oh my god. Nice shirt. Thank you. How you doing? Oh my god.
And last but not least, we gotta do one more thing because so many good games, we gotta highlight a bad game. It's the all-time worst game of 2018 is...
Hamish Black is the worst game of the year for deleting his Twitter account.
Yeah, so, as it turns out, maybe even a game that is already nominated can also be the worst game. Listen, Hamish, you were a very good game this year, a very good game, but you made one critical mistake and you deleted your Twitter account, and now you can't even come up, do all these antics and stuff. I'm just delaying a little bit. Why? Maybe you've noticed there's a change of setting here. I'm back in my mother's house. I'm in my mother's basement right now, here to record this microphone setup. Maybe you think there's a little bit something fishy going on. Let's be real. You know what's happening. I'm here at my mother's because I need to make some fucking noise, Hamish. I'm gonna give a Hamish Black a Hamish heart attack.
Started writing on games and I've been doing just fine. Gotta be down because I want it all. It started out with a name, how did it end up like Mish? It was only Hamish, it was only Hamish. Now I'm falling asleep and he's lifting some weights while I'm trying to sleep. He's writing on games, now he's going online, and my stomach is sick and it's all in my mind. But he's writing on games now. He deletes his Twitter account. Hamish Black. I just can't look. It's Hamish Black and Hambob's Bicep. Biceps, turning hands into the bomb, swimming through sick Hamish Black, choking on your Hamish Black, but it's just a Hamish Black. Destiny is Hamish Black. Open up my Hamish Black, 'cause I'm Hambob's Bicep.
Except I'm not Hambob's Bicep. That's actually you. You're
some of the
Hambob's Bicep.
worst singing I've ever done in my life.
Now Hambob's Bicep.
Yeah.
Sweaty.
Drank a lot.
Now it's
I'm
Tom.
probably never listening to this
Doing
back,
some
but hey,
sick skater
have
moves.
fucking fun.
This was a lot.
You're killing me, Dennis.
Was that good?
God damn it.
Final Fantasy 15 Pocket Edition, it's actually poo-poo.
Actually, no, the real worst game of this year is Final Fantasy 15 Pocket Edition. Such a freaking disappointment on every level. Like, who is this game for? Who is it for? Who wants this? It's so fucking bad. Like, okay, look, it's really cool. It's really cool that they were able to do this, and it really speaks a lot to the quality of the software they did. Everything I've said about this game in the past still applies, and this only brings brings my arguments even to a better state of argumentation. But listen, it's fucking ridiculous. Oh my god, I can't. I really can't. I was like, let's play it. Listen, this game is poo poo caca, dude. This game is is diarrhea. This game, ooh, this game makes a monkey cry into a banana. This game makes me want to. This game is, dude, it's so freaking bad.
Hello, Hamish Black. Hold on to your ball bags, you stinky boy. Smelly daddy, my name has been KingK, and I certainly hope you have some well-deserved fun today.